All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation Israel. And this is going to be a video on how Yahweh is going to lower the importance of gang culture, road men, Pookie and Ray, all that BS, right? The Lord's going to lower the importance of those kind of people in this world, man, because as the society starts to get more and more hectic, the worth of those kind of people is going to be drastically decreased, man, because really a lot of them, they don't know much about how to live in this world. Really, they understand violence, right? That kind of mentality of people, but they only understand really one-sided violence. They don't really understand violence that's back and forth, like how an actual warrior would understand that kind of violence, like how King David understood. Yeah, like how King David understood, okay, if I'm going to try and come after somebody to harm them, well, they're also going to harm me. And King David understood, excuse me, King David understood that even though he had the power to defeat Goliath, sometimes you have to carry yourself in a different way. You might have to froth at the mouth, make your spit drip down onto your beard, and pretend to be crazy, because that now is not the time for a battle. King David understood that, right? Where some people, they don't really understand such things, man. They only understand one-sided violence, and they've got this mentality of, oh, I'm prepared to go where you ain't prepared to go, so I can try and think I can buoy people off and all this, right? But the time's gonna come where this society falls, that everyone's gonna be like that. And when people just ask yourself this, man, when you go to the gym, right? Do you really see the average, like, them little driller kind of people and all that, yeah? You ever notice that most of them are anorexic tough or fat? They're either anorexic or fat. They rarely ever look like they're trained. But when you go into gyms, the everyday person, the everyday man's in there. So he's more physically capable, training wise anyway, than the average so-called Pookie Ray. Now that's not the only person that's gonna get humbled, because some of you little dirt nerds people are gonna get humbled too. Some of you people that are just focused on what you know in this world and the amount of money you can stack up. And some of you are going to think that that's going to be the way to get out of things, man. But you're going to find out, man, that somebody that's been lifting weights is going to put your ass in a headlock and just take everything you've got, man. Some of you people are going to find that. And then there's going to be obviously the men of the Lord, the elect of the nation of Israel, that are going to overcome all of this stuff through the power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. This is Jeremiah chapter 9 and verse 23. It does say, if Yahweh let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches, but let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am Yahweh, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith Yahweh. And that's the thing that Yahweh cares about most than anything else. Do you believe in Yahweh? But I want to speak about the driller thing and all the them kind of people, because that's heavy among our people. That little gang mentality thing where they think they're bad because they might outnumber somebody 10-1, right? But they're not really ever prepared to actually have a fight, man. Not really. I've seen people like that go into boxing gyms and just be getting smacked smacked all around the ring, man. That little fake bravado confidence that women like, that stuff that women like, where they think that you're tough because you're running your mouth all the time. That fake bravado confidence that they have. That don't work in reality. Yeah, all that loud mouthing it off. Y'all mash, y'all broke you up, y'all bam you up, I broke you up, yeah. And until you get 2 jabs in the mouth, and then you're not talking no more. Trying to fiddle around in your pockets for something. Trying to fiddle around in your pockets or in your bag for something. But the time's gonna come where everyone's gonna be on that kind of mentality, man. Everyone's gonna be walking around in a way where they're prepared to defend themselves with weapons. So then what are you gonna do? Because it's easy to have nothing to lose when other people do have something to lose and have that advantage of, I ain't got nothing to lose. But when no one's got nothing to lose, everyone's on the same mentality, man. Having money, like this is what some people like, man. The people that believe in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, we think about the end of this society every day, and because of that, we actually really consider certain scenarios, man. For example, money does not mean anything when a society has crashed because people are not going to be prepared to pay for things anyway. People are no longer going to be like, okay, I'm going to trade in this money that I've earned or this money that I've got for the price of this item that they said, okay, if you want this item, you got to trade it for this amount of pounds. People are going to be like, I can get that item by stealing it, so I'm getting it. People aren't going to be checking in their pockets and say, oh, I've only got enough for this, so I'm going to have to put some things back on the shelf. They're going to be like, I want all this food and I don't have the money, so I'm stealing it. That's what people are going to say. People are going to see their neighbor with certain food in their house and be like, well, I ain't got no food in my house. And they're going to consider, they're going to trick their mind into being like, he's selfish. He ain't sharing because he knows that it's a society that everything's gone now. So he's being greedy. He's not sharing with me. As if they would share with their neighbor if they had the food. And because of that, they're going to steal from their neighbor. Now, some people will say, oh, this guy's chatting shit. He don't know what he's talking about. Okay. Well, prophecy says what it says, man. You don't have to believe it. Prophecy says this, right? 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. So what's part of the way of destroying their houses with the sword? They ain't opening the door. They're saying, get away from the house. We haven't got anything for you, okay? Okay? And you're like, no, you have got something. The person's like, no, you have got something. And they take some kind of weaponry, hammer, something heavy, some blunt, strong object, a pipe, and smash in the windows smash in the door, to get into the house, to steal whatever's in there. That's destroying a house with a sword, right? A weapon of violence. Destroying the house with a weapon of violence and spoiling the goods, stealing what they got in there, throwing bricks through the window and all kinds of stuff. Now, when you're a person that you don't think about the day of the Lord, wrath, these kind of things are not ever going to cross your mind. You're not going to consider like, oh shit, yeah, people are going to do this kind of stuff. You're not going to consider that people that, like, the way our England is designed anyway, right? You have one nice area, followed by a mixed area where some houses are nice and then not nice, followed by an area where loads of the houses are rough, followed by an area where there's a rich neighborhood and a poor neighborhood, and people are just scattered in little crevices and different streets, and from one street to the next street, like it can be completely different houses, or there can be an area where it's got £1,000,000 houses, and then another one where it's got council houses, right? It's structured in a weird way. So what do you think is going to happen? There's going to be people that have never lived in a nice house, and they're going to spoil that person's house and kick them out of their nice house. And the people that are been living the rich way, some of them have never had to worry about defending themselves by doing it themselves because they've always had the police to do it. But the time's going to come where they have to do it, and a lot of them are not going to be capable. Now we get onto women, because women in this world have been the main ones that have been able to like use the police as a weapon against people all the time, and that police is like an invisible inhibitor of certain judgment that men would do, but then like, you know what, but I'm not gonna get away with it anyway because the police are there. So like, I know that this person actually, and I'm not saying that the woman's innocent, I'm saying that the woman actually deserves to be judged in a lot of these cases. But they're like, the man's like, you know what, but if I do try and do this judgment, then I'm going to go jail, even though she deserves it. Well, in the time that prophecy speaks of, right, the time that Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai is destined to happen, that's going to have to happen before we get into the kingdom. It has to happen. This day that I'm talking about has to happen. Jacob's trouble has to happen. You ain't getting into no kingdom of heaven. You ain't going to be immortal, be in a chariot, grow your afro back and all that, be handsome as then you could ever have imagined in your life, be 5% body fat walking around without having to do any training, have a crown on your head from your Yahweh Shai, right? Be immortal, see all your sons and daughters raise up and just be beautiful, have all them beautiful wives that are gonna have the exact kind of body that you want a woman to have in the kingdom of heaven, without going through Jacob's trouble. You're not getting to that without Jacob's trouble. Haven't you read what Ezra said? That there's a beautiful place, right? That's got all the beautiful things in there, but you can only get there from going through this narrow path. And to get through on that side of the narrow path is a deep fire, and on one side and a deep water. How can a man then get those beautiful things except he goes through that narrow path? And you can't. We have to go. We have to go. Me, you, everyone. You have to go through Jacob's trouble. If you're alive on the earth in that day, you're going through Jacob's trouble. Like, you're going through it. If you're Israelites on this earth, you're going through Jacob's trouble if you're on the earth in that day. You're not going to be able to be a descendant of Jacob, a descendant of Israel, and not go through Jacob's trouble in that time. And you're either going to go through Jacob's trouble to get salvation on this side, or go through Jacob's trouble, get destroyed on this side, and still get the kingdom anyway. But you're gonna have to go through Jacob's trouble. It's not a if, it's a when. You have to. We have to go through it, man. That leads to our salvation, right? It's even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it, man. We have to go through it. We have to. Now, back on these women again. Women are gonna really realize how low their value is in this time, because in this society right now, and I've said this before, I think like women's value is higher in this society, higher than men's, right? In a fate, if we're lying anyway, in reality, the man's value is higher because the men are the ones that keep this society going. And if the men decided to stop, if every single man decided to stop doing what they do to keep the society going, versus every single woman decided to stop doing their part that they do that makes the society keep going, you'd notice it a lot sooner if the men stop doing what they're doing. For example, the bin collection thing, if all those men that do the bin collection thing stop doing it, and if there's any women that work on there decided we're going to carry on doing our portion, your area would stink. You'd start to realize that there's crazy animals throwing around. There'd be foxes, badgers, and all kind of stuff, rodents, rats, just all in that trash, man. You'd start getting New York-sized rats real quick. I remember before, way back, like going decades ago, the bins, how they are even in the UK, never even used to be the same. They used to be like some black, rubberish kind of bins. Then they changed it, right? But they used to be like, in the area that I lived in anyway, there was like a rat infestation, man. The bins you'd literally open up the bin lid to take out the trash, and there'd be a rat in there looking at you. There'd just be a rat there all the time, man. There'd just be rats all the time. You put the trash out, there's rats. Like, there used to just be enough, and that was in a city where now that's become an even bigger problem, right? Let's go to this Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 9. Rise up, you women that are at ease. Hear my voice, you careless daughters. And like, the women really have been at ease, man, because this society for them is like a theme park, man. If a woman's hot, she can just literally walk outside her house. Men are gonna give her attention. She can open up social media, find a guy that's a millionaire online and message him personally. And if he thinks she's attractive enough, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and she'll get a chance. Even if he only wants, let's say he only is thinking about doing a one night stand with her, she still gets the chance to try and prove that she's worth more than that, just through having a social media account. And if he does decide to go for that, her whole life is now changed. Men's lives are not changed. Like, let's say right now, yeah, that some super beautiful woman decided to sleep with any brother that's in the Hebrew Israelites that believes in the Great Millstone doctrine, right? Okay, we'll have slept with that beautiful woman or whatever, right? But she ain't gonna be trying to take us out the hood or what, take us out the hood and be paying for our whole life. But women get that opportunity in this world. They get the opportunity to have the government pay for basic necessities, pay for the basic necessities themselves, and then have also be able to live a luxury life if they can earn it themselves, and be able to have a man pay for it as well. Whereas the man only really has one option: get it yourself, or you're not having it. Right? If you can't get it for yourself, you really are gonna be destitute out here. And then even if you do get it for yourself, now some woman's gonna be always with their hand out, begging for your money all the time. Like they're just gonna be beg up all the time, man. Too beggy and that. Just always in man's pockets, and you'll notice. Like I remember the story that Apostle Dahars told of his nice shirt, man. This nice shirt that the Apostle Dahars spoke of that he's got, and he made a joke. The last time I heard him mention it, he said, "I still put it on sometimes, but I don't wear it outside." And I could imagine that potentially could be true, but it's funny either way, right? But anyway, he stopped wearing that shirt from how I understand the story, because when he wears it, he notices how disgusting it is by how people treat him when he's obviously not wearing those kind of clothes. He's noticed how like people be complimenting him on it, and it's too worldly, obviously, right? And that's how this world is, because when you might go outside wearing nicer clothes one time. If you're a brother that's normally you always wear tracksuits, yeah, and then you wear a shirt or something like that. Even other brothers will say, "Man, oh, that looks good" or whatever. They'll notice it, right? But women will notice these kind of things more than anyone else. If you're a man and you used to walk everywhere, used to walk or catch public transport, and then you get a car, a nice one or a not nice one, women are going to be noticing, and they're going to be with their hand out begging, man. And it will be a same woman that might have said you was ugly before. It'll be a same woman that might have chat shit about your finances. It's not like it's going to be a different new woman. No, it will be the same ones that were talking shit. And that's what's so disgusting about this world. And that's why you women are never going to be able to really have power over men like you want, because you worship money. As long as women worship money, men will always have power over them. There'll always be a woman that will go to Dubai for some Nutella. You understand? There'll always be one. Now, men do that stuff too, but there'll always be a woman that does it, man. I watched that P. Diddy documentary thing. I just like, man, none of these women would have been able to he wouldn't have been able to do any of these things to any of these women if they didn't beg up for money. He wouldn't have been able to do what he did to Kim Porter. He wouldn't have been able to do what he did to Cassie if there wasn't adulterous women, because that's what they were, by the way. If they weren't adulterous and wasn't lusting after a guy that's got more money, he wouldn't have been able to do some of the things that he did to them. He wouldn't have been able to. Verse 10, many days and years shall be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. And it already is happening like that, man. Like, you women are having to do more and more things to try and beg it off for attention from men. You're having to set up tripods in gyms. You're having to wear booty shorts and all kind of yoga pants when you know you don't do no damn yoga. You women go to the gym and be walking around, just walking on the treadmill or walking on the Stairmaster, trying to put your glutes in men's face, begging it off. Right? Y'all be begging it, man. Begging it off for attention. You be trying to get on the internet to complain about men not approaching you, right? But you also have got on the same internet to complain about men approaching you and catcalling you. You can't have it both ways, but y'all want to be able to have it both ways, but it don't work like that. It don't work like that, man. You don't get to complain and ask for the same thing at the same time. Nobody in this world gets to have only the people that they like approach them. That don't work. Nobody has that. You think us men wouldn't want, for when we go outside, all the women that we think are attractive and single and meet every single characteristic that we want? You think we wouldn't want for every time we go outside for all of those women only to holler at us? Of course we would, but that don't happen for men, and it don't happen for women neither. You might get a crackle or two that's like, oh, I love, yeah, how you doing, babes? You might have that every now and again. You are gonna have some people that stink trying to holler at you, and it's gonna make you think, man, is that how low my level is? And then you might get your one or two people that you actually think are handsome that walk past you, and you think you're so stush that you just zhuzhing your hand in your hair one time is meant to make him be like, oh, that was a signal that I'm supposed to talk to her. Excuse me, darling. And no, mate, nah. That man might not be single for starters, or he might have better things to do than try and holler at you. He might actually have somewhere to go. Yeah? If you women like the man, you're going to have to go to him. And that's what the prophecy says is going to happen anyway. Isaiah 4:1. You men are going to come to the men in that time. But because of the desperate state that you're going to be in that time, men are going to see through all the BS. You're going to have to be extremely humble in that time, man, because it ain't going to be no games. In the time when Isaiah 4 and 1 is taking place. Ain't going to be no games. Women ain't going to try and run no game of man with what they look like, because they're not going to look how they look now. The world's about to completely change very soon, man. And some of you people that get away with things now, you're not ready to get away with them. You road mans, you're going to get humbled. A lot of you are going, man. You're going to realize that that little street way that you thought was the only way of life ain't shit. You're going to realize that, man. A lot of you people that might have been rolling around with something that shoots projectiles and you thought you was just so bad. A lot of y'all have never had a fist fight in your life, and that's what most of these rap lyrics are. I don't do fist fights. I just shell back, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, well, in the time to come, you're going to get punched in your mouth and ground and pounded, man. Yeah, and stomped in. And you're going to be begging for the person to stop. And they might not in that time, man. When all hell breaks loose. A lot of you guys, like a lot of people, really want to get their hands on that kind of person, man. Because it's a real gremlin's demon, man. It's one of Esau's creatures that he made, man. A roadman. Them little street urchin rappers and all that kind of mentality. Them with the dreads, with the fade. The dreads and a fade and the shape up, man. Tremble you, verse 11, tremble you women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones, strip you and make you bare. And go and sacrifice upon your loins, get ready to mourn. Because the world that you once knew is not going to be there. Verse 12, they shall lament for the teats, for the present fields, for the fruitful vine. And while all of this is happening, the value of men is going to be going up. The value of women is going to decrease, and the value of men is going to increase, because the kind of world that we're getting ready to be living in is a environment that women cannot hang in. When all hell's breaking loose, you having a fat ass and a pretty face and having all these men that are following you around on Instagram don't mean nothing. Whereas a man that can just defend himself and has got the cardio to run a mile away from somebody that's attacking him and is prepared to eat low level food, he's got better survival ability than you. A man that's prepared to eat gross food that don't even really taste nice, no seasoning, and his stomachs can handle that. He can manage not eating for 2 days and it's fine. He don't need to stuff his face every 5 hours. He don't mind eating Cheesecake Factory. In fact, he likes it. Oh, he can handle things, you know. But a woman that thought she was so stush and she was walking around with them crazy 1-inch nails, talking about some first of all, you got me effed up with them stupid eyelashes and all that, with them gelled off head corner. That kind of person, when I see that kind of person, they're walking on the street, I'm like, you really don't understand how insignificant you're going to be very soon, man. They really don't understand how, all you jakes that you've got that, I heard one of the elders call it black hate, all you jakes that got that black hate towards each other, every time you see your own people, you're screwing up your face, trying to look hard, right? Y'all don't understand how stupid you are, and how when the society falls, you're gonna want an ally in that time, and you're gonna want your own people's help. But some of you have been so evil towards some of you are so evil towards each other that even in that time you're gonna be being evil towards each other, man. You're still not gonna realize, you know what? We need to stick together. There's actually strength in numbers here. Some of you are so dumb that you still ain't gonna realize that, man. You're gonna use it as an opportunity to be even more Deuteronomy 28 and 54 towards each other. Isaiah, which is the will of the Lord. Anyway, Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 12, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man in a golden wedge of fear. But that's not going to be every man. Now, every man's value will naturally increase because of the kind of times that we're going to be living in. But the men's value that's going to be like the golden wedge of Ophir is going to be a man that believes in Yahweh. Because he ain't glorying in his wealth. He ain't glorying in his riches. He ain't glorying in his might, his wisdom. He's glorying in that he knows and understands Yahweh. And those are the things that Yahweh delights in, man. And I'm going to end the lesson there. I just wanted to do a video on that because the time's going to come where these kind of people are going to really get humbled, man. Right? They don't believe it, but Yahweh is going to really, like, everyone's going to get there. Let me go to this scripture, man, because everyone's got ideas of what they think. Like we as Israelites, we've got ideas of what we think the right way to live on earth is under the laws of Yahweh. But everybody else has got their own way. Like in that street thing and all that, they don't care about sleeping with their man's wife, their friend's wife. Like they'll dap him up. They'll literally, some of these Jakes were literally prepared to go and unalive somebody for another Jake, but they don't also prepared to sleep with his wife. They're also prepared to sleep with his girlfriend, sleep with his woman, right? But they'll also be prepared to go and unalive somebody for that same guy, showing just how wicked they are. That they're prepared to throw their whole life away for that person, but they're also prepared to throw their whole life away for that person's wife, committing adultery as if they ain't no other woman that they could like. And then the women that do this kind of stuff, they don't care. They'll just let men have a competition between each other and then pick the winner. 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. What does that mean? It means everyone's going to get their chance to prove that their way works. Right? All you women that you think you're bad bitches, I'm a baddie and all that, I'm a baddie. Okay. When all hell breaks loose, be a baddie. Yeah? When this global society collapse, be a bad bitch in that time. Yeah? Oh, I think that me just twerking and putting up my phone on the wall and leaning it on the wall and then twerking in front of it, I think that's the way. All right. When all hell breaks loose, do that then. Oh, I think being a road man and trying to boy man off in that and this and that, I think that work. Okay, when all hell breaks loose, try it then. And it's going to work for a while, but then eventually it's not going to work because there's going to be military people around in that time and they're more trained than you in that way. They're used to mutual combat. Whereas you roadman type of way are used to an unfair fight, right? You ain't used to a one-to-one, hand-to-hand combat, right? You ain't even used to a one-to-one fight to the end. You're used to, I'm going to stay up from behind with this guy. Then my boy's going to come and sucker punch him from behind. Then we're going to keep stomping on him and kicking him up. And then everyone else is going to come and say, oh, I back it, bro. I back it, bro. And then we're just going to rush him. That's what y'all are used to. But Yahweh's getting ready to get rid of all of this. And every single philosophy and method and methodology and way of life is going to be tested. And the only one that's going to remain to the end is that of the Hebrew Israelites, man. Now, all you people can doubt this if you want to. We're going to see. And as things start getting closer and closer, some of you people, we're noticing it already, man. We're noticing it already. Corey Holcomb, the comedian Corey Holcomb, yeah. The comedian Corey Holcomb, he used to mock the Bible. He used to mock it. He knows he used to mock it. But then he can't, while he was mocking it, he always used to he never used to mock it all the way, but he used to say, like, unless you've actually read the Bible completely and really looked at what's in there, don't even be telling me about no Bible. And the reason why he used to say that is because he was listening on and off to the Hebrew Israelites. That's what I believe, right? He's did that. Now, can I prove it? No, I can't, but I believe this, right? So he's been listening to the Hebrew Israelites, and over time, he started adding the Bible to his 5150 show as a thing that he's speaking of, like what's in the Bible actually makes sense, not like he's mocking it no more, right? Because as time goes on more and more, you people are going to start realizing that the way that was the truth was the Bible. When that MOTB gets made mandatory and they're putting a micro CHIP in people are going to really start realizing that the Bible is true. And some people are going to try and jump on the bandwagon and try and make out like they always believe this doctrine. But here's the thing. If someone's been saying that the world's going to get micro CHIP'd for 40 years, while somebody else was saying, no, it's not, no, it's not, no, it's not, no, it's not, and then it gradually starts happening, and then they change their doctrine and say, okay, they are going to do that. Who should you believe? The people that have been saying it for 40 years, 35, 30, 10, 15, 2 decades, 20 years? Or the person that's all of a sudden now that it's clearly happening, and now they're saying, yeah, they're doing this to people? Which person is the most believable? The person that stayed saying it and never changed their opinion? or the person that's jumped on the bandwagon now, and now they want to say it. Who should be believed in at time, man? Who you gonna believe? This world's getting ready to realize that the Hebrew Israelites knew what they was talking about, man. Even on podcasts, they're trying to mention the Bible. On Fresh and Fit podcast, they mention the Bible, things that it says about women. But how do they know that that's in there though? They got it from the Israelites, man. Now they ain't gonna admit this, but we know that Fresh and Fit have heard the Israelites because that waste man Myron Gaines, he mocked it as if he ain't the most shook and jive. Like, this guy is so lost that the philosophy that he believes literally results in him being low. You know what I mean? Oh, I want America that's mostly white, and then they'll every now and again tell him, yeah, but we don't want you here either. Yeah, what kind of belief system is that? He ain't got no belief system where Sudan, and which is where he's from, that the Sudanese end up becoming the superpower of the world. No, his philosophy is that he could to hell with the Sudanese as far as he's concerned, and he wants America to be great, not the Sudanese people that are his people, and he wouldn't want the Sudanese people to be like America. He ain't even thinking like that. Like, oh, if thousands of years into the future, if the Sudanese people became like America, that would be amazing, and I could go back to my own people. He ain't got that kind of mindset. He wants America. He actually believes he's a white man in his mind. That's how lost this guy is, man. The guy's crazy, but forget about him anyway. Then you got No Fugazi podcast. They've also mentioned the Bible. But the main people that mention the Bible and the Bible all the time are the Israelites. Tommy Sotomayor mentioned the Bible and mentioned the Hebrew Israelites too. In a debate that he was having where he was talking with Tariq Nasheed and talking with Fresh and Fit podcast and Sneeko, and he pointed out to them that, yeah, you're saying all of this, but there's a whole bunch of so-called black people that believe that those people that you're talking about stole their identity, and it doesn't matter whether you think it's bullshit or not, they believe it. So what are you saying? And that debate or whatever is on the internet. Tariq Nasheed versus Myron Gaines, and he bonned them out, man. Had them looking stupid. Tariq Nasheed had them looking stupid, man. But some of the input that Tommy Sotomayor was putting in there also made them look stupid. And then this Nico guy was talking about some, black people are the only ones sending all the drugs, and I'm like, mate, you're a dickhead, because every chance you get, you love being around Jake. This guy is always around Rampage Jackson or some kind of thing, and you ain't saying none of that shit in front of him. Like, these people are clowns. Most of these people are clowns, man. And it's became a money maker to be racist towards Israelites, man. That's how it's became. It's became a quick money grab. But anyway, all those people that I mentioned anyway, they don't believe in Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. So judgment's going to come for them. Right? Now, some of them might end up turning around and believing. Right? Some of them might. Some of those people might could end up turning around, because some of them are Israelites, man. And some of them could turn around and believe in. But who knows, man? Like a guy like Corey Holcomb could maybe turn around one day and believe. That's possible. That's possible, right? It's a possibility, because it's undeniable that the Bible's got power in them, and it's undeniable. The Hebrew Israelites have proved that. Like, even such a thing as this that people won't admit, but even the fact that most people in the world are using the word demon now to describe people that are acting wickedly, that came from the Hebrew Israelites, man. That's where I first heard it, and that's the reason why I first started saying it. That came from the Israelites. And now everyone talks and says that. And you can't really even be on the internet without coming across the Hebrew Israelites, man. You can't. If you've been on YouTube and watched enough stuff, you would have came across a Hebrew Israelite video, even by accident, man. But anyway, I'm going to end the lesson there, man. Shalom to the elect. Shalom.